Well, good morning, everyone. And if you get a chance to kind of read today's in-depth report, make sure you focus in there on the part I have about South America and the upcoming growing season, which is about to start in about 5 weeks. We talk about where the main productive areas are throughout Brazil and some of the concerns we may have with the start of this growing season, because we are anticipating that Brazil could have a huge crop. They're going to add possibly somewhere around 4+% new acreage, increasing total productivity, possibly upward here in the low 150s for millions of metric ton of production. What's got us concerned is that we still have a strong La Nina. We've talked a lot about this as of late, and that strong La Nina historically tends to produce drier conditions in southern Brazil while allowing northern Brazil's growing areas, where about 60% of those soybeans are grown, to have a pretty rapid onset to the season. You see the forecast models looking out there at September, October, November. And remember, on September 15th, that's when planting can begin. We really see kind of a split right in through here, where these northern growing areas are currently forecast to have better rains, while southern Brazil, getting into Uruguay, Paraguay, and Argentina, could possibly see some drought. Now, if the La Nina truly has a strong grip on this pattern, we're possibly going to see this forecast verify. And if La Nina lets go by the time we get into December, we could see this flip-flop as we go forward into the rest of the growing season. So the potential is there for a huge Brazilian crop, but weather could possibly play a role in knocking that back. We're going to watch it very carefully to see if that's the case. And back in the United States, over the last 24 hours, a sagging front into this area has just delivered a lot of scattered storms, some of which producing some heavy rain. The tail of that front's connected down here in parts of the southern plains, delivering some locally heavy rain, which is just fantastic to see. But it's the extent of this southwest monsoon. Just bringing rains up through parts of, along the Sierra Nevada into parts of Nevada and then Oregon. That's really delivered some locally heavy rainfall and just a lot of cloud cover into this area here over the last 24 hours or so. This pattern is going to continue as we look over the next couple of days, but bigger questions kind of loom as to what happens with the jet stream pattern here and how it might affect a big section of the United States. We focus on that because when you look around the U.S., there are a few regions I'm concerned about with drought. Take a look from Montana through the Dakotas, Nebraska, Iowa, clipping parts of Kansas and Missouri, but then right in through this area here through Illinois and Indiana. Then you come over here into parts of New England, very dry in New England after they just finished a heat wave. Same thing for the coast of Carolinas. Our ongoing long-term drought in Texas continues, and that southwest monsoon continues to push a lot of moisture through this area. So I'm going to keep showing you these images as we watch them evolve here, but this is our latest 2-week precipitation anomaly map looking at the last 2 weeks of rainfall. So it's pretty easy to identify those areas that have kind of settled into a quick onset drought pattern on top of some longer term drought in certain areas when you look nationally here. The important thing about this forecast is shown right here. This is next Friday, not this one, but the next one. And what we see by next Friday is a repositioning of the ridge, which right now is building here. Well, it's going to shift over toward the western United States. So it's going to take this pattern and really change things quite a bit. And here's the big idea behind this. We will see, as the ridge opens over the next few days, ridge riding storms around it. But as the ridge rebuilds itself into the western United States, and there's a lot of good evidence for this, we've seen a lot of consistent model trends in it, that's going to take a lot of heat into the west. It's going to take some heat into the western side of the Canadian prairie. We're going to see some cooler weather along and east of the Mississippi River, and finally a break in the excessive heat in the midsection of the United States. But what I'm really focusing in on is how is the precipitation pattern going to change. So take a look. On the left, I have the next 7 days of precipitation compared to normal, and on the right, we have the week 2. Now, what we've got going on right now is another day or two of isolated storms here. We've seen this on repeat for the last several days. That's going to continue. The southwestern monsoon continues just to push its moisture all the way here into the Pacific Northwest. But later this weekend, we're going to see a chance for some ridge riding storms here. And then once the ridge really positions to the west, we could start to see those ridge riding storms moving down here through parts of the Central Plains. And once the pattern gets fully established with the ridge axis sitting here next week, the flow comes over the top and really dives down like this. And that could increase rainfall chances into some of the driest places here in the midsection of the United States. It's going to be really important to watch the timing of that, and I include all those animations in today's report. But as I look out at this pattern, what I'm really focusing on is this. It's just another way of looking at it. It's the 10-day European model precipitation anomaly map. Now we have the heat in the western Corn Belt now, but this drier area that you see in through here is going to experience some cooler weather coming up, which takes away the problems we can get with excessive heat. But this will be what I'll have to watch. How far do we get these rains? Do the rains continue to extend into the northwest? How quickly does that heat come on, and do we have problems with increased wildfire threat? And as the fronts slowly clear the East Coast, just want to let you know we don't have anything from the tropics approaching at this point. So that tropical system, we're still keeping an eye on the Atlantic. It's down about a 30% chance of developing. So what I want to do is I want to wrap this whole picture up into a discussion about temperatures. So let's take a look here. Blow that up. This is today's highs getting into tomorrow, and from tomorrow into Friday. So what we're going to watch the next few days is as the ridge opens up in the midsection of the country, this is where the heat's going to be. The Pacific Northwest into the Central Plains. So more time this week of having excessively hot temperatures centered here on the Western Corn Belt. But as we go into Saturday and Sunday, while it sticks around here for a couple more days this weekend, ridge-riding storms come over the periphery, and there's much cooler weather once you get east of the Mississippi River. Now, into next week, the heat shifts west, Monday into Tuesday. See it starting to build here? And that whole pattern shift is going to really result in a cooling effect in the midsection of the country and better chances of rain, as we saw. When do those chances get there? It's next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that I'll be watching here in the Central Plains for the better chances of rain. Now, on the temperature side of it, watch this. This is the next 5 days, sliding all the way out here to day 5 through 10. Notice the heat's building in the west. We could expect to see high temperatures 5 to 10 degrees above normal, but watch the heat subside in the middle part of the country as the ridge really regains position in the western United States through the Canadian prairie. And that's an important forecast change. We've been monitoring it all week because it could really remove some of the later August risk we have in this section of the country on the crops in that area. It's going to be about the rain that comes and then the cooler weather that follows. So this map right here is one to really keep an eye on over the next few days to see how it evolves. Yeah, those ice states are drier. New England's drier. Great Lakes are drier, but cooler weather could come through and save it. I want to show you one last map I put in the report today. It's the all hazards weather map put up by CPC. I'm watching carefully a few regions, of course, the expansiveness of the southwest monsoon, but keep an eye on the Pacific Northwest for more risk of excessive heat going through the middle of this month into the third week. And we're going to keep an eye also on rapid drought expansion possible here. Although the heat subsides, we're still concerned about what the conditions are there, given that it's starting off this time period with very low soil moisture. So I'll watch all of it. I'll talk to you again tomorrow morning. Thanks.